The Document Strategy Podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Please visit audibletrial.com/document for a free audiobook download. Go to audibletrial.com/document. Welcome to the Document Strategy Podcast, a free and independent podcast dedicated to document strategy design, customer communications, and business process improvement. I'm your host, Kevin Craine, and this is episode number 57 for November 2013. Chief marketing officers today are faced with a wide range of business-critical responsibilities, but none more pressing than the need to figure out how to best engage with customers. According to a recent study conducted by Oracle that surveyed senior-level executives from 18 different countries, business leaders worldwide recognize the vital importance of customer experience management, yet most struggle to develop and execute successful strategies. Indeed, nearly all of the executives surveyed, 97%, say that delivering great customer experiences is essential to their success, but only 37% have begun any kind of formal customer experience initiative. One business icon that is a striking exception, however, is Starbucks, one of the most successful and admired brands today. How has Starbucks not only survived but thrived during the recent downturn in the economy? How does the company achieve their goal to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup at a time? And how does Starbucks continually nurture the customer experience, both in stores and online, and translate that loyalty into bottom-line results? That's what I'll be asking my guest today, Joseph Michelli. He's the best-selling author of The Starbucks Experience, as well as other bestsellers like The New Gold Standard, Prescription for Excellence, and The Zappos Experience. He's got a new book out, Leading the Starbucks Way, 5 Principles for Connecting with Your Customers, Your Products, and Your People. We're going to discuss those principles and what we can learn from Starbucks to bring Starbucks-like success to our organizations. So stick around. I'm Kevin Craine, and we'll be right back with this episode of the Document Strategy Podcast. Support for this podcast has been provided by Crawford Technologies. Since 1995, Crawford Tech has been the driving force behind high-volume, transactional customer communications for many of the world's top organizations, and their solutions are the products of choice for corporations and service bureaus around the globe. Visit crawfordtech.com for more information. That's Crawford, Tech.com.
You're listening to the Document Strategy Podcast.
Joseph Michelli, welcome to the Document Strategy Podcast. Starbucks is among the most trusted and most admired brands today. Why is that?
Well, you've actually nailed it on the head. Entrepreneur puts it at one of the 10 most trusted brands. Fortune has it as one of the most admired global companies. Howard Schultz is a CEO, Businessman of the Year on Fortune's cover. I think when you have 54 million Facebook fans and umpteen Twitter fans and Pinterest fans, a labor force of a couple 100,000, 60 million weekly customers coming into your stores, and you've been around 42 years, I think all of that stuff summates to a realization this is a brand that is on a daily basis executing some 60 million transactions with weekly customers across 18,000 stores in 60 countries worldwide. And they're doing it in a way where the brand continues to get steam and stay relevant and credible in the eyes of the consumer. I think all of that leads to a brand that many people are trusting both as shareholders and as customers with their daily ritual.
For those of us in the document and customer communications industry these days, more and more focus is on strategies that help manage and nurture the, quote, customer experience. In your book, you say that one of the things that Starbucks does really well is nurturing that experience by actively listening to and incorporating the ideas of customers for products and service advancements. So how exactly do they do that? And specifically in terms of, how do they collect the data, and then how do they ensure that customer voice is heard all the way to the top in terms of strategic planning and decision making?
Well, There are a number of different strategies. I mean, they were among the first to use crowdsourcing idea websites. So the mystarbucksideas.com website was among the very first of its kind, and it's a place where once you've registered your Starbucks loyalty card there, then you can get online and be part of the community that votes up or down ideas. You can send an idea. Maybe you're into, sriracha-flavored coffee, and you throw that idea up on the board, and you find out you're the only one who's weird enough to think that that's a great idea. Or maybe there's a real traction of it, and then it gets traction at Starbucks leadership. They start looking at that idea. They move it forward. They're in conversation with their customer base. They're really using their customers as an advisory council on new ideas and exploration of experiences. So that's one formal method of doing it. Informally, they've developed such an integrated multi-channel approach with their loyalty cards through their Starbucks application that they're able to use that communication channel just to look at the analytics of the customer experience and to get some ideas about what products they can position with what segmented populations and really design customized experience for different types of users of the Starbucks cafe.
Building and nurturing customer loyalty is a success factor for businesses of all types. And again, Starbucks is a great example of that ability to build a loyal customer base. But for Starbucks, it's not just about the in-store customer experience. They've been working actively to connect with customers through mobile technology, mobile pay and customer loyalty apps, for example, and through the use of social media like Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest. Can you describe how Starbucks has had success in using social media and mobile technologies to build multi-channel relationships with customers?
Yeah, Kevin, let me do it backwards. Let me give you an idea that just happened very, very recently. It's called Tweet a Coffee. All right, so here's how it works. Let's assume somebody gave you a gift card, and you decided, okay, I want to make that gift card into a loyalty card because I know if I consume enough beverages, I'll start getting free drinks. So you go online, and you actually register that gift card as a loyalty card. You might even decide to put a funding source to it so that it auto-replenishes, and you can use that gift card. They've actually moved that gift card onto their mobile app, so you can mobile pay using 2D technology scanners in the stores, and you can just bring your phone in instead of worrying about carrying your wallet, and you'll be able to pay there. There's also ways to track your purchases, so they're using gamification strategies to make sure you're earning levels and free products, so it builds into the loyalty. But what's interesting this very past week is that Starbucks essentially did this Tweet a Coffee idea. So what happens is now you've got this loyalty card, and you just have to register your Twitter account with it, and once you do that, you can now literally tweet a coffee. So you can e-gift a coffee to somebody by doing at Tweet a Coffee, and then and then I would put your Twitter handle, Kevin, and that will essentially gift you a coffee, a $5 gift card to be redeemed at Starbucks using your mobile device, or you could download it and print it off the old-fashioned way and bring in your coupon. But the point of the matter is I can, as quickly as I can tweet you, send you a gift, linking it all through my loyalty card program, and obviously they're going to track data, right, on how many of those gift cards I give to you, because it's all part and parcel to what they're able to get analytically.
Joseph, this is your second book about Starbucks. Your first was The Starbucks Experience in 2006. Now your new book, Leading the Starbucks Way. So over the years, you've been granted rather intimate access to the organization. Everyone from baristas to the CEO, Howard Schultz himself. And as a result, you've got a rather unique perspective on the company's resurgence from rather serious setbacks during the economic downturn in recent years to what you say is one of the few true turnaround stories of this time. Can you describe that turnaround and how the company was able to not only survive but thrive through the recession?
I think it's a kind way of saying I'm an old guy. I appreciate that. In 2004, I started working with Starbucks. I'd just come off of doing some work with another little Seattle brand called the Pike Place Fish Market, where they throw fish. And just down a block or two from there is the original Starbucks store. And I got involved with the company there. We researched them for a couple of years and worked with them kind of in various ways. And by 2006, the first book was released. We were telling about their meteoric growth and how they were opening 6 stores a day. Then a couple of years later, the the economy changed, Starbucks was closing stores around 2008. Howard Schultz, who had been their entrepreneurial CEO, had gone off and was doing global strategy. He came back to the helm of the company. They set apart a 7-point transformation plan that was really about becoming the premier concept in coffee, to really taking back the leadership position there. It had a lot to do with global growth, about diversifying product lines. It had a variety of different components, all of which we tried to capture in this book from a voice outside of that of the C-suite. So we went in and looked at what are they doing to mobilize the connection, which is one of the principles for this book. How are they literally taking whatever they're creating in the brick and mortar and extending it out through mobile, and how are they also devising products that insert themselves into the mobile lifestyle of the customer, so that they weren't requiring customers just to go to a destination brick and mortar location to get access. And we did all the others, the global focus that they did, their big growth in China and now in India. We looked at how do you make any brand relevant to grow outside of your own block, right, to the block over, to the next street over, to the city over, to a country away. So those were things that we looked at in the brand, and we also looked at some of their bold social stands, which, are controversial, but actually demonstrate a soul of a brand, which has been actually very effective. And it is a true turnaround story. In the third quarter of 2013, they were at at record-breaking earnings reports, and their stock values have just been off the chart. So clearly they have turned this brand around from a very dangerous time in 2008.
It's time for a quick break. I'm speaking with Joseph Michelli, author of Leading the Starbucks Way, 5 Principles for Connecting with Your Customers, Your Products, and Your People. And when we get back, I'm going to ask Joseph to discuss those 5 principles and how companies can use the concepts to drive Starbucks-like success for their organizations. So stick around. We'll be right back with this episode of the Document Strategy Podcast. Do you have great ideas but need expert writing skills to make them leap from the page? Do you have a great product or service that needs better exposure to new customers, potential partners, or the media? Craine Communications Group is a strategic communications agency focused on the document management and customer communications industries. Expert writing and editing, audio success stories and custom podcasts, effective media relations, and dependable and professional industry-focused expertise and service. There is no other writing and communications agency with more expertise in the industry. Find out more today at cranegroup.com. That's C-R-A-I-N-E, cranegroup.com. Promotional consideration for the Document Strategy Podcast has been provided by McGraw-Hill. Visit mhprofessional.com.
You're listening to the Document Strategy Podcast.
Welcome back. I'm here with Joseph Michelli, best-selling author of The Starbucks Experience, and he's got a new book out, Leading the Starbucks Way, 5 Principles for Connecting with Your Customers, Your Products, and Your People. Joseph, can you describe those 5 principles and how companies can benefit from some of the concepts?
Sure, I'll fire through them as quickly as I can. Savor and elevate is the first concept, and this is a lot about Starbucks reclaiming the passion for coffee, trying to build that passion into everything they do. It's something that every brand needs to be thinking about. If you can buy 2 products, one from somebody who doesn't have a lot of passion for it and just has the basic benefits and attributes of the product that they're trying to sell, you're working with a commodity. If you're able to add value through your knowledge and passion for the product, you really can create and connect with customers. There's plenty of examples of how they build product passion into the way they relate to their employees, whether that's corporate rituals or other strategies of immersing those customers or those employees in experiences around the product. We also talk a lot about savoring and elevating the experience and teaching people that it's not enough just to transact business with a quality product, but you have to envelop the customer in a type of experience where the customer feels elevated. And we discuss a lot of their strategy, but I think every brand needs to think about it's not just what you sell, but it's how you sell it. It's the experience you package your product in. From a second principle, we talk about love to be loved, which is a strategy which says don't just seek to be a trusted advisor to your clients or customers. It's important that you establish trust beyond just being a competent provider of quality products. You have to have the trust that you're going to deal with any breakdowns with integrity. But beyond trust, there is another level that really drives ultimately loyalty and advocacy, and that's love. And some brands are unabashedly willing to try to love on their customers and have those customers find them to be a beloved brand, not just just a liked brand. And we talk about distinctions and strategies to ultimately get there. I think for any brand, it's just something you have to aspire to and understand the dynamics of becoming a beloved brand. They reach for common ground. In essence, the Starbucks went out into many countries without regard to the nuances of what it would take to be successful. They figured if it worked in the U.S., it would work anywhere. In fact, they did all of their global operations out of Seattle, Washington. Recently, they've humbled themselves to realize they have many things that are commonalities that make them connect in countries, but many differences are needed to be considered. They've they moved their workforce globally, so they have leadership in all kinds of countries around the world, not just in Seattle, Washington, and literally are making a difference by understanding the nuances of each of those areas. Mobilizing the connection, we talked about it some. It really is an understanding that customers are mobile today. They're more likely to notice their cell phone missing than their wallet missing. It's understanding how to connect to the customer through that mobile device, and also understanding that customers, you just can't keep throwing up Starbucks on every corner as a strategy to connect with customers. You have to be able to insert products like Via, which is just a micro-ground coffee in a tinfoil packet that essentially is a coffee shop in a packet. All you need to do is add water wherever your lifestyle finds that. And then finally, cherish and challenge your legacy is a principle that essentially says it's not enough to just do good at work and profits. You have to do well in the world. And so to do that, they have come up with a lot of different strategies, global volunteerism, but a lot of willingness to articulate what is important to them and to take a stand on important issues. So that's the gist of the book and how it relates to most business owners.
So I see. And so when it comes to designing maybe approaches to customer communications, these principles can spill over in how the customer experiences those communications. What I'm hearing you say is things like enthusiasm for the product or the process or the thing that we're doing. And building a trust with your customer is partly due to really communicating that authentic enthusiasm or that love of the customer or the product, or you kind of get that from Starbucks.
Absolutely. That's so well put. I think at the end of the day, Starbucks understands they're to create uplifting moments in the life of their customers, and they're to do that with a passion for coffee. It is a people business where they serve coffee. And so if you look at the way they communicate to customers, it's all consistent with that in the brick and mortar and electronically and across channel.
It's time for another quick break. I'm here with Joseph Michelli, best-selling author of The Starbucks Experience and his new book, Leading the Starbucks Way. When we get back, we'll talk some more. Since 1995, Crawford Technologies has been the driving force behind high-volume transactional customer communications for many of the world's top organizations, and their solutions are the products of choice for corporations and service bureaus around the globe. Transform print streams to and from virtually any format. Alter, enhance, modify, or add advertising to transactional documents without application changes. Archive and store and manage customer communications in ways that save money, build efficiencies, and enable new opportunities. Visit CrawfordTech.com for more information. That's CrawfordTech.com. Award-winning software for high-volume transactional customer communications. Document-strategy.com. That's where you'll find everything you need to design a document strategy that makes sense, including my book, Designing a Document Strategy, now available in both print and ebook format, and my 3-hour document strategy training DVD. Just go to document-strategy.com and check it out. That's document-strategy.com, your real-world resource for document strategy design.
You're listening to the Document Strategy Podcast.
Welcome back. I'm speaking with Joseph Michelli, best-selling author of The Starbucks Experience, The New Gold Standard, Prescription for Excellence, The Zappos Experience, and his new book, Leading the Starbucks Way, which is a fascinating look at how Starbucks has built a brand that is one of the most recognized and most trusted in the world. Joseph, the success of Starbucks begins with a promise to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. You know, that sounds great if you're a coffee company, but what if you're a software company or an insurance carrier or any number of the less flashy types of businesses? How can these companies inspire their customers in a similar way?
Well, because I wrote about a company like Zappos, which really is an online shoe sales company, doesn't have quite the same cachet as being able to give somebody a nurturing cup of coffee over the counter. I think you start to realize wherever you are, you have to understand what you want your customers to feel at the end of the day. And you have to inspire your employees to realize that they're doing more than transacting business, forking over something for money, whether it's insurance products or any other software solutions. It really comes down to understanding how do you want people to feel as they interface with the brand, through their communications, through their experiences at all key touch points with the brand. And once you articulate that and you inspire people in your organization to do something more than just push product, then suddenly you have people taking hills for passionate whys that ultimately is more important than the what and how. So, as Zappos, it's about delivering happiness. A Pike Place Fish Market, it's about treating people as if they're world famous. This is a fish market where they're treating people as if they're world famous, and because of that, the brand itself became famous. Everyone in the organization knows their goal is to treat people as if the person they're dealing with is famous, that has that level of interest. So I think once you define that, what I call a way we serve statement, for Starbucks it is about uplifting moments, then you inspire your people to go out and deliver that consistently across all communications and all touch points.
Joseph, I really want to thank you for being a guest on the podcast today. In addition to being a best-selling author, you're an organizational consultant who focuses on the intersections of business, leadership, and workplace productivity, as well as a respected keynote speaker. How can people contact you and learn more?
We are easily available under my name, Joseph Michelli. That's JosephMicheli.com. We're working a new book on Mercedes-Benz. It'll be out in 2015 called Driven to Delight. So we're continuing our journey across industries, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to interface with some of your listeners over the future.
That's Joseph Michelli. Visit JosephMicheli.com. Joseph, thanks again for being with us today.
It was truly my pleasure. Thank you, Kevin.
That'll do it for this episode of the Document Strategy Podcast. Join us next time when we continue to explore methods, technologies, and techniques to design real-world business strategies with bottom-line results. I'm your host, Kevin Craine. Thanks for listening. The Document Strategy Podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Please visit audibletrial.com/document for a free audiobook download. Choose from over 150,000 audiobook titles and get a free trial membership. Go to audibletrial.com/document. Document-strategy.com, your real-world resource for document strategy design.